go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Through the Struggle. How are you doing today, B?
I'm doing good. I'm just happy. I'm sorry about that. I'm just happy just to get the podcast going.
Yeah, we've been gone for too long, guys. So
Yeah, lots been going on. The kids have been sick. School, shit like that. So
speaking
yeah.
of kids, that goes on to our next topic today. Today's topic is through the struggle of being young parents. So, how's parenting going for you, baby?
Actually, it's going good. The beginning, like when we had Junior, my first kid, it was so difficult
Yeah.
because it's a big difference between being a father and a mother. When you don't actually have a father figure in your life, like me, I really never had a father figure in my life. Uh, you're just learning on the fly, so you gotta basically just learn how to do it by just watching, getting advice from other people who actually been through it. So for the first few months, it was rough. I didn't know. I actually didn't know what to do.
Me
So
neither.
it's like it wasn't like I was trying not to, fall off a little bit. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do it. So
Right.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say it was the easiest task. But after my first son, the first few months, about 6 months, 6 7 months, I learned. You feel me? I got all the things I needed to know. Because one thing my father taught me is how to not be a father.
Right.
So when it came to especially my son, it's my firstborn son. I just wanted to be the best father I could be. I just wanted my son to live the dream I wanted to live because I never actually wanted too much in life. I just wanted a fighting chance at life.
Right.
I just wanted to be able to experience things, uh, sports, going to parks with my father, going to games and shit like that. So, like I said, it was a humbling experience. It humbled me up a lot. So when I had my daughters, it was so much more easier for me to grab onto, even though it's different. To father a son and a daughter, it's a huge different. It's a whole different thing. So I actually had to learn a little bit more with my daughters too. But it's one and the same though. It's about the same thing.
The day that we found out about Junior, it was like the most happiest days of our lives. But I was low-key scared when I found out that I was pregnant with him. But I was excited because that's all we wanted. We wanted him.
Mhm.
And the day that we found out we were pregnant, we weren't in the right position at the time.
No, not at all.
We were freshly married. Actually, yeah, we weren't freshly married. We was on our way to getting married.
Yeah, we were still planning the wedding and everything
Yeah, we were
like
still
that.
planning the wedding. And we didn't even have our own house, nothing. So I was kind of nervous about that aspect. And with being a young parent, especially freshly married at that, because, I was only like a few weeks pregnant before we got married. And we didn't have everything in the right situation. Like, we didn't have everything lined up for everything.
Right.
So I was kind of scared about that situation. But overall, I was happy. But at the same time, we were only 18.
Yeah, and I was so excited because like I stayed up nights at a time. I had bad anxiety.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, it was crazy because like that's all me and you ever wanted since I know it's not right because we were little kids back then, but since we were like 13, 14,
Yeah.
young.
Just wanted to have a family.
Yeah.
Mainly, the reason why I think we wanted a family is because our own family wasn't, like, we were like the black sheeps of our family. So it was like we wasn't fitting in to everything. So we decided, like, okay, I know for me, in my situation, I wanted to have someone who could love me as much as I love them. And I think that was wrong because we were kids.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy that it didn't happen. And I'm happy it didn't happen back then. I'm happy that it happened when it did happen.
Right.
Actually, I feel like he actually grew us up a lot.
A lot because we were still hanging around a lot of the wrong people. We still had an immature mindset. And that's actually what people knew us as. Like, people knew us as being the immature people, always arguing, fighting, and stuff like that. So, when our first kid, our son came, Junior, it changed a lot. Not right off the bat though. It was still a lot of arguing and stuff like that, but it was just a different feeling. Like the vibe changed in a relationship. The vibe changed in our household because we realized that we had a whole life to take care of now. It wasn't about us anymore. We still weren't really financially stable.
No.
We was living down the way still.
Yeah, a few months after I got pregnant, I think we were like, I was 4 months pregnant when we moved down the way.
Yeah, so we were still staying down the way. So
it was our own though.
Yeah, like it was our first official house. We had other little places like back houses, shit like that.
Houses.
Yeah, trap houses basically. But that was our first house we had. So it felt like we finally started our family. It was the beginning of what it is now. And what it is now is still not the end yet, but you know, we're getting there now. Like back in the day, people never saw any potential in us.
Yeah, everybody thought that we were going to rely on other people when the baby came, or that we was going to start relying on people. But for me, it helped me grow up a lot.
Right.
It helped both of us grow up a lot because, like you said, we were fighting, arguing with other people, getting ourselves in positions that we weren't. And as soon as we found out that we were pregnant, we kind of like went in the cut. And, like, left everybody. Because that was, like, the year that we literally did not have Facebook, no nothing when we went through that.
Yeah.
And when he was first born, it was, like, a wake-up call. And that's when, like, we strived to do something better. But it was so hard. Like, in the beginning, it was so hard. I remember waking up in the middle of the night crying because he wouldn't stop crying. It was crazy.
And it's just so different because, like we said, this segment is about... raising children young. And it's so different to have a child young with no support system than to have a child and have all these people supporting you. And that's a good thing. Like, I never downplay a support system because, like I said, it says in the Bible, it takes a village to raise a child. So,
but we didn't have a village.
We didn't even have parents. So it was basically just like us. And it was so hard because, like, it's a whole human. You know, like I didn't really look at it like that until he actually came here.
I didn't look at it either. I looked at it as soon as he came, I'm like, oh my God, I'm responsible for a whole nother life. Like, I barely can keep my own life intact. Like, what do you mean? Like, other kids. And like you said, we didn't have parents. But there's a reason why we didn't include other people in our kids' lives. Because I didn't want the toxicness of them, like, involved in our children's life. And there's nothing against anybody else. It's just I didn't want them to be raised the way we were raised.
Yeah.
It was nothing against anybody.
So. Yeah, that was a big thing for me, too, because I just didn't want my son to actually, like, grow up like me. Like, a lot of toxic ways I have about myself. Like, I'm trying to detox myself from this, but it's from my mom. It's from my family. So I knew that if I just put my son in that same situation, if I put my daughter in the same situations, what's going to change? And the biggest thing I wanted, not only for the children, but for myself, for you, for our marriage, our relationship, was change. Because it was too many things going in a circle. Like, you feel me? So I just wanted our children, even if they don't turn out the way we want them to have a chance.
I always just wanted our kids to be better than what we were.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the world today. Like, they don't want their children to succeed more than they do. And I do. Like, I have big dreams and goals for my children. And, I mean, people is going to get into it with us a lot about it because of the decisions we made with our children and the way that we parent our children. And everybody has their own way. However you choose to parent is your choice. I mean, I don't have nothing against it. Like, I don't judge it. But how I decide to, it causes a lot of problems. Like, how we decided. Like, we didn't want our families involved as much in our children's lives. And it was nothing against them. It was just, there was some traits and toxic traits that they had that I didn't want, that we didn't want in our children's lives.
Right.
And we got a lot of backlash for it. And when people see, because we got 3 children now, and I'm only 21 and you're 22. So, like, it's like, if people see us with 3 kids, they're like, oh, they're childish as hell. Like, they're kids. But to me, I feel like our mindset is more higher than that.
Yeah.
Because our children is taken care of. I mean, they don't act bad as much as most children out here is. And I think that's something to do with our parenting. But like I said, it still gets hard.
Yeah, but one of the biggest things about raising children young, are actually being effective parent. That's what I call it, because you can raise a child and still not be effective. You can raise a child just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the goal. The goal is to make your child better than you. The goal is to give your child a chance at life that you never had. So even if you were successful in life, you want your kid to be even more successful.
Mm-hmm.
You want your child to experience things you couldn't experience. So one of the biggest struggles I find myself having is, both of us actually, people tend just to look at our parents because we look young. Like, we look like 21, 22-year-old young adults. So people will try to disrespect us to the point, like, just talk to us like we're kids.
Or
Like,
try to tell us how to raise our kids.
yeah, try to give us advice like we're just some type of clueless people who just don't know.
And I don't have nothing against people giving me advice, but if your kids didn't come out the way that you're trying to tell me to raise my kids, you don't have nothing to say.
Yeah, like I always say, like, if you didn't raise a successful child, if you were not a successful parent, don't give me any advice. I don't want any advice from you because you didn't do it. Like, if your child, and it's not always about money. No. People get it twisted. Like, your child can be a millionaire and still be a fuck up.
Yeah. See, the problem with that is children don't look at money. They look at the love, the attention that you give them, the way that you cared for them. They don't care about money until they, like, in their teenage years. Mm-hmm. But, like, as far as everything goes, all they want is somebody to love you. They don't care to love them. They don't care if you guys are homeless in the streets. As long as you show them the love and the attention they need, that's what it is. As long as you give that strict discipline also. And I found that against, too, because we're currently in a situation where our daycare worker doesn't look at us like we're grown. Right. And to the point where we have to find another one, and it's like, it's kind of killing me because they've been there for like 8 months. But it's like, I'm tired of the disrespect, and I'm not a disrespectful person anymore. Mm-hmm. So, like, when people try to give me advice, I take it, but I just don't. I let it go in one ear and out the other. Unless you are giving me some good advice. Like, in the beginning, I needed all the advice I can get because it was hard. Like I said, we still had majority of characteristic traits that we had before we had him. Right. Like, we kept bringing people around our children, well, our child, because we stopped all that stuff when Elisha came. But Rayvion Jr., he was around a lot of people that we didn't want around, like people that were toxic in our lives. And there were some people who just used him for pictures, used him for just to use him. And all he did was show genuine love, and that's one thing I don't tolerate.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be all the way 100 about everything. I feel like, back to the support system thing, we don't have an effective support system. Like, I'm going to put it like that, not because of we can't have one. It's because we chose it because our families are toxic. And I don't want to, like, throw anyone under the bus, like, sneak this, shit like that.
But sneak this if they hear it.
But our parents, our brothers, sisters, it's like envy. Yeah. Hate and jealousy. So it's like you don't really want to put your kids around situations like that. Even if someone tries to, okay, yeah, this is my grandson, this is my granddaughter. But I don't want my kid to be in a situation where I don't know what's going on behind my back. Like, I know that my in-laws, a lot of them don't like me. I'm not talking about my grandmother-in-law and my grandfather-in-law because they, you feel me? We have our little relationships. But everyone else seems not to like me just because I took you out of that situation you were in. Vice versa. Yeah, vice versa. Same thing.
Like, your grandma loves me.
Yeah. But I don't want to put my child in a situation that I don't know what's going on when I leave.
Yeah, so that's another thing. We recently went to Cleveland, and we left our children with my mother and her boyfriend for, like, literally, like, what, an hour? Yeah. And we was literally parked right there, like, a few houses up. Because, like, I don't know. It's not even that. I don't trust people. Yeah. It took me a long time to trust the daycare. Like, we just put our kids in daycare, and if it wasn't for school, they wouldn't even be in daycare.
Right. And it's just, I don't know. It's different. When you're young, it's different raising kids because, especially when you come from a broken home like we did, you're either going to respond one or two ways. You're going to respond just like your parents and neglect your child, keep doing what you want to do, or you're going to respond by growing up. Because sometimes you just need to grow up, bro. People don't get it. Sometimes that even if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, clubbing and kicking is not for you if you have a kid, if you have a child, because
So, yeah, I mean, it's like the trust issue. Like, it's the trust situation. I don't trust people with our kids. And then the biggest struggle I think that we found is stability with the kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the beginning, I don't feel like, because I don't feel like anybody can classify whether they're the best parent in the world or not, because we had our ups and downs. There was times, like, where we literally didn't know what to do at certain times.
Right.
And right now, it's just a situation with the daycare because it's going to make us miss a lot of school. And there's some things that you have to sacrifice. Our children been sick recently. And they recently got sick because of the daycare they were at. But it's like when it comes down to school situation, we got to miss school for it. And it's just a risk you have to take. We literally sacrificed not going out as being 21, 22 years old. We literally sacrificed a lot of stuff for the kids. And I don't care, honestly, because my kids are my life. But there's some times, like, where you want to go do something, but you can't do it.
Right.
Like, recently we've been wanting to do something with each other, and it's been, like, a little difficult because of our schedules and the kids, like, you know, that type of situation.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I would say that it's a cliche saying, but people always want to bring it up is a child is not going to fix a relationship. All it's going to do is put more stress on it. All it's going to do is test it. Like, let's see how strong this relationship actually is. So if you're still in that building phase of your relationship, still trying to get to know each other, shit like that.
Don't use a kid to trap someone. That's how I feel about it. Like, if you think that that's going to fix your relationship, it's not. Because we had struggles in our relationship due to the kids. What?
Your forehead.
The hell? Oh, it's a dragonfly. Hey. Okay. Anyway. I don't know. It's because we had this back door open.
We be having a good podcast and shit just be happening in the middle of it.
Sorry, y'all. But, yeah, because we done had struggles in our relationship because of the kids. Cock blocking.
Yeah, cock blocking. But not just cock blocking. It's just sometimes it gets so stressful.
Yeah.
The relationship gets so stressful because the kids. And at first, the newborn stage is not that hard. You think it is, but wait till you get a 3-year-old.
Oh, my God.
Wait till you get into the terrible 2 stages. It's so much worse. And it's like you have to actually, at that age, you have to train your kid. Because if you let your kid continue to go down the wrong path, like, just people think it's cute for your kid to be acting up, to be doing bad little shit like that. But you have to actually discipline your child, however you choose to discipline them, and turn them back down the right path.
And that's something we struggle with.
Yeah, it's a big thing because we have our daughter, Elisha. She's so sweet.
And she innocent but clingy.
Yeah, she's so innocent. So when she need to get disciplined, it's so hard to do it because
she'll give you this little face like.
Yeah, and then Heaven, she's like so active.
So bad.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's hard to do it. And then Junior, he's the older brother, so he's trying to take charge, shit like that. So we just try to let them develop their personalities because like I can see how our kids is coming out. My oldest son is like more of the leader of the pack. He wants to be like the one in front in charge. And my middle child Elisha, she doesn't mind it because she likes to follow behind him. But then Heaven is coming up with a whole new personality,
and she thinks she's in charge.
Yeah, now she wants to play that in charge role, and she's only. She's
11 months old.
Yeah, she's going to be a year old in a few weeks.
Yeah, April 14th.
Yeah, she's still young. So it's like you have to just manage it, watch it, because they like to put their hands on each other because,
yes,
you know how kids go.
Yeah, because another thing we struggle with is co-sleeping.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too. That's a huge thing.
Okay, so let me give you guys a little bit of this. Okay, so everybody knows when you have a newborn, they have like this little breathing thing because the amniotic fluid is still like somewhere in there. So when we had Junior, he was sleeping, and Rayvion used to sleep with his hand over Junior. It was so cute to make sure, because one time we thought Junior stopped breathing, and really it was just him trying to breathe through the amniotic fluid. The doctor said it was normal. So because of that situation, and because we heard about the scares of SIDS and all the other stuff, he slept with us in the bed. Nobody ever rolled on him, nothing. It was like we just knew not to touch him because he had that middle spot. And it's to the point where they're sleeping in their own room now, but in the middle of the night, they tend to come in our room.
Yeah.
And we did the same thing with Elisha. because Elisha had colic when she was younger. Remember that?
Yeah, that was
Oh my
horrible.
God, that was the most stressfulest time.
Crazy.
Now, you guys, anybody who has a colic child, oh my gosh, I feel your guys' pain, because I think that was when our relationship was like literally rocky. It was starting to get rocky because I was up all night with the baby screaming and crying. You was a heavy sleeper. You would get up, but like you was a heavy sleeper. I would just let you sleep because also you was going to school at the time too.
Yeah.
And I would be so stressed out. And when I get too tired, I have an attitude. And I think that's when it caused a lot of situations. But because due to her being her stomach being messed up and her having colic, it caused a lot of problems. Like even to this day, she's really clingy. Because the only thing that would soothe her is me holding her. So she ended up sleeping in the bed with us too. But we did good on heaven for a few weeks. And then she ended up coming to our room because another thing is I used to breastfeed.
Yeah.
And instead of me waking up to hold her and breastfeed and stuff, I would just literally unconsciously lay in the bed with her and breastfeed her without even knowing. So when we switched her to bottles because of the birth control situation and it took all my breast milk, I tried to get her back in her bed and she would not go. Like even to this day, she upstairs asleep right now in our bed.
Yeah, and that's like something else you can point towards being young, because a lot of people who are older will know how to deal with that situation. But those situations, I feel like it's not. You can deal with it. Like you can wean them out of that situation as they get older.
It's just like you can't call somebody and be like, "Hey, what do I do?" Because they'll be like, "Oh yeah, now you need me." Like, no, I just need help.
One thing that me and my wife, I don't know how to put it. We don't take a lot of advice from people because of our past. A lot of the times when we took advice, people just use it against us. Yeah, and then people give you bad advice because, like, how I figured it out about a couple years ago. Like I said in the beginning, if you did not raise a successful child, if you did not raise a child that did good in life, not just about going to college and getting money, but is respectful, has manners, shit like that, like, I don't want no advice from you because, like, what are you going to teach me? You can't teach me anything that I don't know already.
That's how I feel about it.
Because I know how to be disrespectful, so I don't need to learn how to do that shit.
And that's one thing our kids are not. They're not disrespectful. They have home training. And I think we did good on that aspect.
Yeah, we have some very polite kids. They say please and thank you a lot.
And yes. And
they have manners. So one thing I can say about my wife is that out of all the things she came from, the bad situations, the family problems, she's a very good mother. And it's crazy because it took me about a few months to learn how to be a father. But it was like for her, it was a natural instinct.
You're a good father.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some people, and I condemn you guys, anybody who's a single mother who's taking care of your children on your own, I commend you. Because without this man right here, I don't think I will be able to do it.
Yeah.
You were a good father. You were a great father, especially because you didn't have a father. And like you said, it took you a few months, but you caught on quick. I mean, at the first, it was like the waking up and you was a heavy sleeper.
Yeah.
So it was that situation, but you still, during the day, you still changed his diaper. You still slept with him. You still held him. You still did everything. So don't ever try to downplay like you wasn't. Like it took you a few months to get the whole gist of it, but you were a great father.
Yeah, but I think one of the biggest things about it too, that young parents don't get, and it's crazy because I don't know how I got this or how we got it, is people don't value spending time with your child. People think put your child off on daycare, put your child off on your parents and shit like that. But if you have to, like going to school, going to work to support the family, do what you got to do. I ain't got nothing against it. I would do the same thing. But when you have that time to spend with your child, you should do it because you're not going to always have those days.
Yeah.
One day your child is going to be grown. You're going to be old, and you're going to regret those times you didn't spend with your child. So I just feel like all the time I can't get with my children, even though sometimes they get on my nerves, sometimes I need a break and things like that, I don't take it for granted. And it's crazy because, like, I know people in my life, people in your life, people just I see on social media just take it for granted a lot because all they're thinking about is themselves. And you have to realize that once your child come, don't ever believe that you don't matter anymore. Because people always told me that you don't matter anymore. It's all about the child. Because
Take time for
you
yourself.
still get time for yourself, but your number one priority now is the child.
Mm-hmm.
Your number one priority is not your relationship anymore. It's not anything else but your child. Everything else comes second. And people don't realize that. So they have children thinking it's cute because a lot of the times it's because the household they came out of.
Yeah.
Because I believe that a lot of these teenage moms, single teenage moms, it's just following their mother's footsteps.
And teenage dads is following their dad's
because
footsteps.
teenage dads feel like I don't have to take care of this child because I didn't have a dad and I turned out fine.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing that you did not turn out fine, bro. Like, you fucked up for real. And you got to realize that because people don't want to believe they fucked up. Like, I know that I was messed up. Like, I knew I had to get myself together. I had to get my mind together, my mental health, my physical health, things like that, just so I could be effective as a parent, as a husband,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a family now. Like, you should have children in the family, like a marriage, things like that. But some people don't, and you still have to know how to be an effective parent without having that wife, husband behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I feel like it is the mental health state, because like I said in my previous podcast is at a young age I was diagnosed with bipolar depression.
Right.
And I tend to have episodes where I spaz out. And before I had my kids, it would be more so violently. Then now that I have them, it's just more so like verbally, like I'm not talking to them. When they're not around, I don't flip out as much. But like when they're not around, it's still a struggle. And when you're trying to deal with all of that, because I didn't know how to be a wife. Nobody knows. I never knew anybody who was actual real wife, that actually was committed to their husband, that was actually doing things that a wife is supposed to. I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't know how to be a mother because, again, no shade, but, my mother to me, according to my sisters, she's probably the best mother in the world, but to me, she wasn't really my mother. My grandmother was more like my mother, but my grandmother let me get away with a lot of stuff.
Right.
So instead of me sitting here battling with, okay, so I have to let my kids do this, I have to let my kids do that, and I catch myself doing that because if Junior does something bad that he deserves to get, he needs to get, punished for, go in your room or something, I would just bypass it because he's so cute and just leave it alone like that instead of disciplining him. And that's something I struggle with because I didn't have that thing, but also I'm dealing with a lot of stuff at the same time. Like I said, I feel like because that's what people don't also know is our kids were planned, except for Elisha came boom, immediately. We wanted her, but she came immediately, but heaven was literally planned. We literally wanted to have her,
right.
Immediately have her. We wanted to have Elisha too because we wanted to get our kids out the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know the struggles of it because now having 3 kids, because we just started putting our kids in daycare, 7 months ago?
Yeah, a few months.
So we were literally with them 24/7 since the day they were born, each and every one of them. Junior, we was away from him for 1 day, 2 days when I was in surgery for my gallbladder, and then 1 day when we had Elisha because I literally rushed the doctors to let me out the hospital so I can go back to my son. And then they were with me when I gave birth to Heaven. So we didn't have that break. We didn't have the stress-free, everybody who has a support system. If you guys got grandmothers, mothers, fathers, anybody that would help you with your children, y'all are so, blessed. That's how I feel about it. You guys are blessed. You guys, it's amazing for you guys. For us, we didn't have that, so it was kind of painful. There was days when we literally was, stressed out, crying, going through, especially when we were homeless, when I was pregnant.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
That was horrible.
I didn't know. When I was pregnant, we went homeless. I think, how far along was I? 4 months?
4 or 5 months.
3
something
months,
like that.
yeah. So I was pregnant, and we went homeless, guys, and we were sleeping, literally in a 3-window car. I keep saying a 3-car window, but a 3-window car. And there was times I'm like, oh, my God, why would you bless me with this child? And I'm not going to be able to support it. Because we could have went back to our old ways, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And it was hard. So, that was a big struggle, too. But the main struggle we had was we didn't have time for our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
To stay, for us to have that time together. Because every time there was something.
Right. And it seemed like our first child came, in the part of our relationship where everything seemed like it was falling apart.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing in disguise to me.
About the break.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, we had our son. Everything was going downhill, so it was a blessing in disguise. But it was still like the relationship was still not mended yet, like how we wanted it to be, because the child came. So now all we're focused on is this kid, trying to get our finances together, trying to get a stable place to live, and our relationship is still. You feel me?
Try to fix the problems in our relationship we had before him.
Yeah, so it was so much going on, and it was like another thing I wanted to touch on before we
close out
is one of the biggest things, especially being married young, because I know a lot of people aren't married. So, but the people who are married young is once I'm going to put this: once you make a mistake in a marriage, you can't come back from it. And I'm not just talking about, stepping out, cheating, and stuff like that, but including that, you can't come back from it. So you need to actually look at it, especially when you have kids or a child is coming in and play. You need to weigh the risk, however you can say it, and benefits of doing whatever you want to do. Right. Because, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes in my marriage. And it feels like it's been years, like it's been a long time, but our relationship is still like rebounding from it. So, and that can really affect your parenting. It can really affect everything.
Because the kids hear everything.
Yeah, because the kids hear the arguments. The kids know what's going on. No matter how young they are. I don't know how to. But
same thing.
Yeah, but it don't matter how young the kids are. It's just like I said, I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm just grateful. Like I always say, I say it a lot. I'm just grateful I had the wife I have, because if I didn't have the wife I had, a lot of shit would have been different for me. Like my wife actually sat there and stayed with me while I grew up, matured, made a lot of mistakes. I did things I'm not proud of, I regret, but my wife always stayed by my side. Because I don't know why, but she knew, like, she had faith in me. And it's something that it had to come from God, this faith my wife had in me, because, like, I did not give her any hints or anything that I was going to change my ways. Like, I was always just trying to be, you feel me? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to put it all out there, but it was difficult.
We'll talk about that situation, like, in a different...
we
speak about marriage, but...
Yeah, but it was difficult in the
beginning
of our marriage, and it's just like I'm just so grateful because like we speak about raising children, being young, coming from a married couple, coming from people who've been through so much and still stayed through it. A lot of people are not in this situation. A lot of people our age who have kids, who are raising kids, are in a situation as being a single mom, a single dad, or having step parents, or just like dealing with things that they shouldn't be dealing with. Because, our story, like I always say, our story is not a typical story. So don't ever feel like that if this same thing happened to you, it's going to happen like this. Because it's not. This is like a fairy tale type story. The ending is still coming. Like people think that, okay, they're doing okay, but they're not doing great. We're still in the middle of the book. Yeah. Like we're in the, what year is this? 4? We're in the 4th chapter. Like we still got time to go. Like in the next year or two, it's going to be a surprise. And it's just like I see a lot of people on Facebook. I'm sorry to cut you off, baby, but
no problem, baby.
A lot of people on Facebook being narcissistic, whatever it is. Like, okay, I got this money, I got this house, I'm doing this. Me and my husband, me and my wife, we're doing so good. One thing me and my wife learned is to be humble and just stay in the cut.
So we don't put shit on Facebook no more.
So when we come out the cut, we're not going to come out the cut bragging. We're not going to come out the cut thinking we're better than anyone. We're just going to show you what staying low key, being faithful, praying, staying with God, and keeping your relationship intact does for people.
Yeah.
Because we have big plans coming.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we succeeded in a lot of stuff that we don't put out there either.
Yeah, like we make big strides in life. Like, not just things. This is just life as being a woman and a man. A woman and a man of God.
Young, married.
Yeah, like, it's crazy.
Children are a stress factor. I mean, there was times, I'm not going to get, like, too much in detail. There was times where we couldn't even figure out what we was going to eat the next day, but we made sure our kids ate. And people don't know about that because we don't put it out there.
Right.
And it's like a lot of stuff that you're going to go through when you have a child. And because we don't have that support system. But we still made it happen. And now it's to the point where we finally get a little bit of stress-free about situations. Like, our finances are good. Our housing is very good. Our kids are very good. Like, we're able to do that because we learned over the years. We're not perfect parents. We're not perfect people. Like you said, there was a lot of mistakes that was made. Yeah. But we were children. Having children. That's literally a saying. But old people like to use it. Like, older people like to use it as, like, a disrespect. Yeah. But there's really a saying, children having children. We were children having children. But at the same time, these children turned into adults.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot of situations that, I mean, I could touch base on. I mean, we're probably running out of the time, but we're probably going to have to do it till the next podcast.
Yeah, we'll do it next week.
But at the same time, I'm grateful for what I did, for what we did, what we have. I'm grateful. Be humble, be strong, and no matter what, strive. Like, that's our one thing. We strive for our children. Speaking of our children.
Yeah, they just came down the steps. But, okay, we're going to end this podcast. But before we go, I just want to say we're going to be doing a lot more because we've been slacking, whatever you want to call it.
Situations popped up.
Yeah, like I said, we're in school. We have 3 children. The daycare situation is not going good. But we're going to be blogging a lot, vlogging a lot. We're going to be doing more, making more videos, more content. We're trying to just get ourselves out there, get our name out there so that we can start reaching more people. But the center stage of everything is going to be this podcast. So if you guys are listening, I know we had about 70 listeners.
72, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm just, like, for the first podcast
and that was on YouTube only.
Yeah, only on YouTube. And for the first podcast we put out, I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm happy. And I just want you guys to continue just to watch us, listen to us. I know a lot of people from Cleveland is not going to support us because we're kind of hated in Cleveland. I don't know.
If there's problems that we had with you guys, just know that there's no hard feelings. We don't have no problems with anybody. It is what it is. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. But at the same time, it is what it is. I'm grown. I'm an adult.
Yeah. So. I don't know why we're so hated. I know why back then. But I think it's because people just don't know the new us. Yeah. How we came so far. How we just changed the landscape.
Everybody who knows us knows that we came a long way.
Yeah, we came a long way.
Long ass way. And we're going to get more into detail about that probably in a different podcast. Like I said, this podcast stuff is not ending. Right. But we're about to close out. So, you guys, we are on Spreaker. We are on iTunes now. We are on Spotify. And if you guys are following us, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel because we are going to start putting out vlogs. We're going to start putting out other situations, stuff like that. And it's just because we want to give you guys a little more insight of what we're doing. We want to take you guys along with the journey because there's a lot of people who wonder.
Yeah, we're just going to start showing you guys more about our life.
And showing you guys the new us.
Yeah, because people still believe that we're still, like, just putting on a front. Like, we argue sometimes, once in a blue moon. Mm-hmm. We're going on Facebook throwing little shots at each other.
Oh, we'll do some funny stuff on Facebook just to get your guys' attention. And literally be cuddled up in bed somewhere. Like, that situation.
Yeah, but everything we speak about is legit. Mm-hmm. Our relationship is legit.
We're not going to sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah, we have past issues. Things happened in the past, but everything is better now. Me and my wife are completely healthy financially, mentally, physically. My wife is starting her keto diet.
I lost 2 pounds, guys. 2.5 pounds. And I'm so excited about it because there was a situation that came up where I couldn't go to the gym. Yeah. So, literally, I lost 2.5 pounds just off of dieting. I cut out breads, pasta. Like, I went strictly keto. I had a little oopsie doop by eating this popcorn one night when we was watching TV. But I'm so excited, guys, because everybody who knows me, I wasn't this big before. So, like, I feel insecure, especially having children. Having 3 babies back to back. It made me, like, very insecure about myself, made me gain a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So I felt bad about myself, and I thought that I didn't look enough for you. Mm-hmm. So I, like, went through, like, this little stage, but I'm happy.
Yeah, but, all that is going on right now. Mm-hmm. My wife is finally trying to start to, build her self-esteem back up because she did go through a little mini depression stage. It wasn't really a depression, but insecurity stage, thinking that she's not beautiful, not knowing that she is probably the prettiest female from Cleveland. Not even over-exaggerating. Like, people will hate about it if people don't like us.
Yeah.
But if you actually, like, put a picture next to my wife and any other female from Cleveland and show people from other states and cities, my wife is probably the beautifulest female from Cleveland. So, besides that, we're going to have a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to reveal some stuff in our marriage that happened.
In our next podcast.
Yeah, next podcast. We only have a few minutes left. So, can you guys please just continue to support us, continue just to stay with us.
Again, if you're following us on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe because we are giving you guys way more content. We're going to try to do podcasts at least 1 or 2 times a week. So
we're aiming for twice a week, but at least once a week.
Our schedules are busy. With this coronavirus stuff, we've been out of school, but it is what it is. But all right, see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoy watching and listening. See you guys later.